All right, guys, we're back for another Modified Rides podcast. Today, I have someone that creates a ton of parts for you guys in the truck world. If you're in any of the truck world, you've heard of them. Today, I have Mike Losh. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, just having a great morning this morning. How are you today?
Good, good. So, me and Mike's been trying to get together here. It's early his time, but a little earlier than my time. He's an hour behind me, so we got to get it out of the way first thing in the morning. So, tell us who you are and where you're from, man.
Mike Losh here with Slosh Tubz here in beautiful Siloam Springs, Arkansas, right in the middle of nowhere.
I don't know why I was thinking for some reason you were in Texas.
No, sir. No, sir. We're about so we're going to Waxahachie this weekend to see Tins in the park, but we're about 5.5 hours from them. So, yeah, a little ways from Texas, but not too far.
Gotcha. So, Mike has a company called Slosh Tubz. So, where did the name Slosh Tubz come from? It looks like it's tied into your last name a little bit.
Of course. So, backstory, I guess, when I was in high school, a girl nicknamed me Slosh in high school. And so that stuck through high school. And then I got married, and my wife was Sarah Losh, and then she started signing everything Slosh. So it just kind of worked out that way. And our original products kept the water from sloshing into your engine compartment. So kind of worked out well there.
So tell us how you got involved with custom vehicles, because I'm sure you didn't just step in and say, I'm going to start making parts. You had to have been somewhat of a gearhead to begin with.
So it's literally all I've ever done. I mean, I didn't play sports in school. I didn't hunt. I didn't fish.
Same.
Only thing I've ever done is cars.
Same.
So, I didn't, it's not like I came from it or anything. I started messing with mini trucks, of course, and started playing with them. And we started, me and my grandpa started building tilt beds for everybody. We did a lot of hydraulic tilt beds for everybody back in the day. And so I guess that would have probably started our fabrication or product side, because we started doing that, and for everyone. So I guess that's where the beginning of it was.
Okay.
And then the addiction just grew from there. So
what did you have growing up vehicle wise then?
So my first truck was a 65 Chevy long bed truck. So
okay.
And had it for, I don't know, a year and a half or so, and then I decided I wanted a mini truck, and then I had a Mazda long bed truck. So that was our first real build, was the long bed Mazda. Snug top, big stereo, 350 swap, all that kind of stuff. So
what year was this?
1990.
Okay. So you were right in the middle of it. What did you have the mini truck?
No, let's go back. So that would have been 88 probably.
So you were right in the heat of the whole mini truck craze then when you were doing it.
Oh yeah.
Well, how did you get into doing the tilt bed stuff? Just you wanted one for you, and then a buddy wanted one?
Exactly. We wanted one, because that was the cool thing. So we're like, of course, I didn't have any money to pay anybody to do anything. So I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to do this myself, just like all of us. So my grandfather worked I was raised by my grandparents, basically. And my grandfather was a maintenance man at a facility, and he was just a fabricator. That was his mentality. So, with his help, we kind of figured out how to do it and went from there.
So where did your automotive world take you after the mini truck world? Did you go back to the C10s then?
Let's see. I did. I built two Mazdas. The second one was featured in Mini Truckin', the magazine that everybody had, because Last Look was on the cover. My
okay.
second truck was featured in there. It's called Claim to Fame. Lance Martz shot it. It was a bright green, Samba green Mazda. So, and then
Yeah, you're right. That's the one issue that if anybody has any back issues, that's the one they have.
That's the one they have. Everybody loved that truck. So, yeah.
So after that, I guess you showed that quite a bit.
Yeah, after that, yeah, we did quite a bit in that one, got it around a little, and it was I think we were on the forefront of building like a super clean engine compartments. I mean, that's always been one of my focuses. We welded up all the holes, rerouted all the wiring, did all of that stuff that made that truck stand out.
And engine bays are usually, for the most part, one of those things that people overlook. They're like, oh, I drive it. I don't want to have to, clean it, this and that. So they usually leave them closed. I mean, I've tried to shoot many vehicles and I was like, well, open your hood. And it's like, you have all this work and you've not touched under the hood. And they're like, oh, I just didn't think I needed to.
And that's always been my focal thing is I want it to look good under there.
It's a jewelry box.
Exactly. And that also brings me to one of my other things, why I don't do a lot of crazy stuff under the hood. I want my products to look clean and simple, and I want the engine to be the focus of the engine compartment. That's one thing I've always said. I want you to be looking at the diamond in there. I want everything else to look beautiful around it, but I don't want to be drawing attention. That's why I don't have a lot of bead rolled patterns and everything in my stuff. I try to keep it simple and clean where you're focused on the engine. That's always been kind of my thing.
So after the Mazda, where'd you head to after that?
I built a couple just little things for a bit there. I didn't built just a couple daily driver builds for a while, and then I finally, my grandfather drove Cloud 9 for 26 years as his daily driver.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yes, sir. That was his daily driver for 26 years. That's the truck I learned to drive in.
Nice.
So it took me a long time before he ever I knew that was the truck I wanted to build.
Yeah.
But it took me forever for him to let go of the truck for me to build it. And so for him to let go of the truck, he said, you find me another truck. And we basically swapped. I bought him another truck and we traded for his truck. But the other truck I bought him is Gentleman Jim.
Okay.
So I bought him that and traded for, he called it Old Blackie. Cloud 9 was Old Blackie when he drove it. So I traded him for that, and then he drove Gentleman Jim for 16 years. So I drive both of his trucks. So, well, when I get Cloud 9 back together, I'll drive both of his trucks.
You got it apart right now?
Oh, yes, it's all blown apart.
Well, wasn't it perfect to begin with?
Probably. But we get bored and think we're going to make stuff better, and now it's been apart for 5-6 years, however long it's been apart, way too long.
Wow.
But
so
with the new shop, it's getting back in.
was Cloud 9 where you started making the tubs? Is that where you
Correct.
made your first set?
Correct. We started building that truck, and that was back in the forum days, 67 to 72 ChevyTrucks.com, where almost all of us came from. It was our Facebook of that period, I guess. So, yeah, I started building that truck on there, and I started building the inner fenders. The concept and the idea, this fly's driving me crazy. Nobody was building anything.
For those watching on YouTube, he's not having, Twitch fits here.
It's a fly. Nobody, it was on the heyday of everybody starting to build parts for these trucks. I mean, Porterbuilt was just just coming out, starting the whole chassis craze, suspension craze, and nobody built anything for inner fenders. And on that forum, I started building an inner fender and stuff. And during that process, I was about probably halfway through with my inner fenders, and my grandfather sold the farm where my shop was.
Uh-oh.
And so I didn't have a place to work on it. So I hired a friend of mine's shop to finish building my original inner fenders that I'd started. And by the time we got them done, I had so much money in them, it was nuts. And so we were like, I got to do something to get some of this money back. I said, even if I could just, sell enough sets to pay for what I put into them,
yeah,
then, I could come out okay. And that's literally where it started. Trying to pay back for what I'd spent.
They were all metal?
Well, when we started, yes. We started building them, and we were building them all out of metal. And during the process, we figured out that we were going to try to pull a mold off of them. So at that point, it tweaked a little bit. And then when you're building a part for a mold, it doesn't have to be all metal.
Yeah.
And to try to get the compound curves that I was going, it required quite a few other products for us to get there. So Bondo, fiberglass, whatever all it takes to make your shapes that you're trying to make and pull a mold off of.
So you were just building them originally for the 67 to 72s.
Correct.
And they were bolt in, like everything was a direct fit?
Correct. So that's been my whole focus that I've tried to do is I want a true inner fender. One of my pet peeves has always been if you're down low, and you're a cameraman, so you're a photographer. So if you're down low shooting a vehicle from a 3/4 shot, I hate being able to see the cab and stuff behind the cab. That's why I've always made my tubs go all the way to the back, all the way to the front. They covering your core support, covering your firewall, your lower firewall parts there. Then tried to make them bolt in where they are a true inner fender still. So
yeah, which that just mimics what new vehicles have with all the wheel well liners and all that stuff that hide all that.
Correct.
I know when I had Fabs do my Ram, that was one of my things. It's like I want all that covered. I don't want water flying, sloshing into the headlights and all that stuff. So it definitely makes a difference.
That's what we think. So, a lot of people do them different ways. They're more just a cover just right over the top, but I like that full coverage going in. And that's been my thing is trying to keep it where it bolt ended like an original. Now, not saying that it's, the right way, but we think it is.
So I guess after you started making a few, you just said, hey, why don't I take some to shows? Like, how did you come about deciding to do a booth?
That's a great question. I think I'm trying to remember. I think Robbie Bryant invited us to Slam Lee Reunion and said, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that was our first show. He said, why don't you just put up a booth down here and see? So we had a little bitty 10 by 10 tent and table and probably 2 sets of tubs or something out there. So
now, did the people that stopped by know what you had at that point, or is that kind of where you had to learn to market what you were doing?
Yeah, that was on the front side of, social media being so huge,
Yeah.
The guys on the forum knew what I were making, but the guys on the forum were, from everywhere, a lot of them were Phoenix, California,
Yeah.
Texas. A lot of guys from out there were all the people on the forum, but, Yeah, so that would have been pre everybody know. I mean, social media has done so much for all of us. I mean, it's crazy that the reach we can have now.
Oh
So
yeah, worldwide at that point.
exactly, exactly. So no, you're exactly right. That was I've always been a salesman. I've always sold cars and stuff for 20 something years. So
Now you
yeah,
don't you
you
don't
put
sell cars anymore. You don't sell
no,
cars anymore, do you?
exactly. No, sir.
You
No,
finally, was it recently? You finally stepped away from that, didn't you?
yeah, we're about 3 years in now. So once my kids graduated high school, I felt confident enough to jump out and try it.
I guess you'd been busy enough at that point that it was eating up all your free time outside of work.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So when you got your first couple booths in at shows, selling some at shows. What was the turning point for you where you knew you had to step up either production or parts available?
Well, everybody, and it's still the same at today's shows. I come with, I don't know how many products I have. I've probably got, I don't know, a bunch of different products. But no matter what I have, everybody's like, well, what about this year? Do you have this year, this year? And that's the same thing that happened then. That's where it started. They're like, hey, we need something for the 73 through 87s too. So then we built 73 through 87s. Then they're like, well, we need something for the 60 to 66s. So yeah, that's how it blows apart there and just starts going crazy.
So what do? You just borrow somebody's truck to say, hey, let me make some molds and tweak this inner fender that I have for this truck to fit yours? Like, how does that process work?
So the first one I did, the square body, I went and I found an original paint square body truck that had never been taken apart. You could tell it was original paint. The fenders
Yeah.
never been off of it, not repainted, nothing. And I took a sawzall and cut the cab floor off and the windshield pillars off, the A pillars, and just took the whole front clip of that truck to my house unattached. I wanted it to still be all together where it was. And then I started building the inner fenders off of that.
So with the growing demand, is that where you go? Is would you say 65 to 87?
In my parts,
Yeah, I'm for your inner fenders.
60 to 98 right now.
Okay, so you do have the OBS and everything.
Yeah,
Was it a challenge going to a different platform like the OBS, or was it pretty much the same concept?
it's the same. Yeah. Yes, sir.
What's the chance of like a 67, 72 fitting the square bodies? Like, has anybody ever tried to say how close are these holes?
No, they're way off.
So GM really changed it when they changed the body styles then.
Yeah, they did. So the only thing we've got close to swapping over to different years is Josh at Yeah Buddy just took a set of my 88 to 98 tubs, and they just went in. They just modified them a little bit to put in a NBS truck. So
Really?
what is that? 00 to 2006, I think.
Yeah.
Is that the year range? I believe.
Cat eye version, isn't it?
Yeah. They just modified a set to put in one of those trucks. So that's been the closest thing I have from one fitting into another one.
But it takes someone knowing what to modify and what to like. Josh has killed it over there. I need to get him on.
Yes, sir.
He did quite a bit of stuff for me when I was at Street Trucks. Some tech articles and stuff, and that's kind of when he stepped out on his own, and he immediately just blew up with his content. So
yeah.
So with you doing the inner fenders for all these years, when did you step in to go, okay, we need more parts where you've got now the seats and the boxes? Like, what made you step away from just inner fenders?
So, well, the inner fenders in turn started me making all the sheet metal products to go with them. They wanted inner fenders, and they wanted like, firewalls and side filler panels. So we started doing all that stuff. And
And
if you,
you just have molds for the inner fenders, but I guess the metal parts you just have a template that you reproduce all this stuff.
yeah, so I have the shapes laser cut, and then I bead roll all of the
Okay.
patterns. So yeah,
So now you have enough to trim out a whole engine bay to make
yeah,
it look pretty front to back.
exactly. So then if you're well, I was raised loving Cloud 9, my 67 truck, and the Buddy Bucket seats are the most rare option you could get from 66, 67, and 68.
Okay.
That's probably GM's rarest option for those years. So I always loved those seats, and I used to hunt for them and I used to buy them and flip them, try to find a nice set and clean it up and sell it or whatever. So finally I got tired of searching for them, and I'm like, I think I can just make these.
Yeah.
And that's where that started. So I think
what makes those seats different though?
Do what?
What makes those seats different?
So everything else was just a bench seat. So the Buddy Buckets was basically a set of bucket seats and a center console that is also a seat and has a storage compartment underneath it.
Okay.
GM did that in 66, 67, 68 and never revisited a center console again until 88.
Oh, wow.
As far as in a bench seat wise center console. I mean, they did it for 3 years and then totally stopped and didn't pick it up again for 21 more years.
And now that's standard on non-bucket.
So we started doing them, and of course the same thing happens. The guys are like, well, can we get them for the 73 through 87? So the seats and the bucket and stuff are all the same. I just built a different base where I can bolt all that stuff onto a different base. So that's how we've skipped through all the years. We've just finished building a new base for the 55 through 59s and the 88s and 98s, the OBS trucks. And we've got them for the 65 through 79 Ford trucks now.
Okay.
I'm kind of still learning the years on those, but so yeah, we're just.
So how do you base what products you bring to market? Is it people asking for it? Like once you have 5 or 6 people ask, you go, all right, there seems to be enough request.
Exactly. That's about the extent of my research right there.
So I guess if you do one and it, then it sells and you're like, all right, now I need to do 2. Now let's do 3 because those 2 sold.
Yep.
I guess being a small, independent, I mean, you're not a huge, 100 employee shop. So
no, sir. We
do it all. Now you said you started doing some of the seat stuff for the Fords. Do you do any other parts for the Fords or the Tubs?
So yeah, when Casey was building his truck, he was like, "Hey, I want a set of Tubs," and so Casey brought me his truck up from Texas, and I built the first set of Ford Tubs for his truck.
You talking about Casey, the painter?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I've got the set of Ford Tubs now, and not a lot of Ford parts yet, but once that set of Ford Tubs will fit, I think 67 to 79.
Okay, so it's a big window.
Cover a lot of those years, and then we got like a transmission, a tunnel for them, and a seat. That's about it for the moment for the Fords. But
yeah, I guess your main item is your 67, 72 Tubs. Is that your biggest seller?
Probably square bodies.
Wow, really?
Probably 73 through 87, I would have to say, is probably my biggest seller.
I guess because that's almost the next wave now that the round bodies have been out for a minute. People starting to be able to pick up the square bodies used to be able to pick them up a little cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the 88 to 98 wave's coming on really hard right now. So, yeah.
Well, I know, like at Triple Crown of Rodding, if you look, like all the old street rods, the 30s, 40s, all that stuff seem to be dying off, and all the 60s and 70s stuff seem to be really, like when it comes to the high end build, seems to be really taking off. So I guess it's just our generation is
finally getting the money to build them like we want to build them. And yeah, we're the old street rodder guys now. That's us now.
Like, I mean, they have, like 32 Fords are cool, but it's like that's not, give me something different with different lines, So I don't see many of like our age group doing the old 30s and 40s that much, unless they're like crazy done. So so after you said you added the seats and all that stuff, now you've stepped into doing speaker boxes and some interior stuff.
Yeah. So when we were building Pretty Penny for my wife, my shop partner Alan had a wood shop, cabinet shop, and he did all the stuff in my house and everything. Friend of mine, and I came up with the ideas. I wanted to build for her speaker box, and I'm like, "What? You think we could do this?" And he's like, "Yeah." And of course, we both had input, both, because he's the wood guy and I'm the metal guy. And I'm like, can we do this? Can we, back and forth. And then we made her box, and then everybody was like, hey, I'd buy one of those. You want to make another one? And so that's taken off now. So, and then of course you put out one year and then everybody's asking for the next year. So yeah, we're plugging away on those. We got a ton of different boxes right now. So
it's cool to see a company like yours actually make stuff for the DIY guys, like stuff that you produce. Like I could handle. Like I don't paint, I don't weld, I'm not a fabricator, but I can work with some stuff to tweak some stuff to make it work. Where it seems you have a lot of those people that aren't paying a big shop to do some big custom crazy, one-off inner fenders and one-off seats and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what we've always said. We've tried to make it affordable for the average Joe to build. Like we took Pretty Penny and showed her quite a bit for a while before we sold her. But everything I did in that engine compartment, that was one of the things everybody loved so much about that truck, I mean, was nothing high end. I mean, it was. You can build an absolute beautiful engine compartment. And that's what I was trying to showcase with that truck, using my products, rerouting some wiring, cleaning up a few things. It still had the 350 in it, everything. I mean, I wanted it, the average guy, it had eBay valve covers, eBay air breathe. I mean, but it looked killer. Super clean, super tidy and nice. And your average guy can do that without having paying a shop 30, 40 grand to build him an engine compartment.
Oh, trust me, I have an engine bay that I had done, and the price on that added up pretty quick when you've got 200 hours of metal work and then paint work, and like it added up quick. But it did make a big difference in the RAM for sure. So
definitely.
So I guess now that you're not selling cars anymore, you're traveling to as many shows as you can. I guess you're hitting more now than you did before, or
definitely
the shop work keeping you away from them?
Well, it's a crazy balance trying to figure it out and trying to figure out what shows to go to, and because it's a huge investment for us to go to a big show.
Yeah,
I gotta buy inventory and build inventory for a month and a half to get ready for a show. Then I got the expense of going to the show, fuel, hotels, food, the cost of the shows. Like I missed Triple Crown. I haven't done that show yet. And I regret missing that this year. I mean, I think I missed one of the top shows of the year, and I won't miss it next year, but that's, you learn as you go. Some shows I don't hit the first year or the second year. For it to be worth it to me, I need 400 to 500 C10 trucks there.
Yeah.
I need that kind of group of guys there to know that I'm going to get the exposure I need or sell the products I need to sell. And so it's a tightrope trying to walk that and balance it. And then, like you said, okay, how much time do I spend away from the shop? And if I'm gone 1 week out of every month, that's taking a big chunk of time away when you're the person that does almost everything. I mean, Chip does shipping for me, but I'm still trying to do R&D, design, weld up seats, all of this stuff, bead roll, all this stuff. It gets to the point where you need somebody else, but when you need somebody else, you need to find somebody like yourself. And if there's somebody like yourself, they've already got their own shop. So that's where it gets stupid hard to do, That makes it really good.
Is your shop at home, or do you have a shop out somewhere?
So I am about probably 3 miles from my house. So yeah, just right across town. I had a shop at my house, and that's where I did all my fab stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had another small shop that I rented where I did had all my shipping stuff basically. And about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I guess, I got a big shop. And well, big for us. It's like 5,000 square foot. So
still a decent sized shop.
We've got everything in here now. So I built a wall through the middle of it, and I got shipping on one end and then fab shop on the other end. So finally everything under one roof, and that makes it so much easier.
Yeah. So you're back and forth all the time. So
exactly.
When did you realize though that this is actually going to be worth me doing full time? Do you remember that turning point? You woke up that day and said, okay, I've got to do this now. This is going where I need it to go.
Well, it was just mainly my wife keeping on pushing me.
Mine does the same thing.
Like, you can't keep working 70 hours a week at the dealership and then try to work 40 hours a week at home. You're going to have to just try it. But it's the security of walking away from, even though my other job was 100% commission, you still know that, Bill, I can make good money here, and I'm totally walking away from that on a gamble. Can I make enough to support us, or, So
mine was the same way when I left Pepsi. I was 22 years in as well, and it was like, okay, you have that guaranteed paycheck, not knowing, you have some weeks you're like, how am I going to make money this week? Then the next week you make enough for, 3 months, and it's like, all right, it balances out. It's worth it. So I completely understand that concept. I was working 50, 60, 70 hours a week, and then, gone every weekend at shows and stuff. So
I didn't realize that you worked for Pepsi.
Yep. I was there 22 years.
So my friend Chip that does the shipping with me, he still works for Pepsi. He's been with them about, I think, 26 years. So he works his route in the morning, and then he comes in here in the afternoon and ships.
Well, I wanted to, be a supervisor, kind of step myself up because I was on a truck. Then I stepped up to trainer, and then I realized all the supervisors were early 50s, so they weren't but 5-6 years older than me, and it was like, okay, they're not retiring anytime soon. I'm going to be 60 still on a truck, and I'm like, yeah, my back and knees said that I was done with that. So and I had the ability to step away. No clue what I was going to do. And, then I started detailing out of a kind of a joke with a friend, and that snowballed. And it's like, now I do more photography now than I ever did as a side gig. So I completely understand the leap of faith to go to not have a guaranteed paycheck every week.
Yeah, exactly.
So it sounds like you don't regret making that move. Sounds like you stay busy enough to.
No, my boss is a jerk, but other than that, we're good. No, I do not regret it. My wife asks me all the time, do you miss car sales? And I like sales. I'm that personality. I like selling stuff, but I'm like, I do not miss it one bit. Not a bit. So.
Now you travel all over the country pretty much. I know Midwest, the Texas, the Southeast stuff, and I guess you do Dino's. And
yes, sir.
Is there any areas that you don't hit shows in or haven't yet?
So we haven't done anything north or northeast, I don't guess. So
I don't think there's a lot of truck shows in the Northeast.
So we did, like, in November, we pretty much go coast to coast. we'll go from Fall Revival in North Carolina.
I'll be
And
there.
last year, since we were there already, we ran to the coast for a day or two anyway. We went to Outer Banks. And then 2 weeks later, we drive across to Phoenix. And then when we left Phoenix, we went ahead and went to the coast, California, just for fun. So yeah, we're pretty much coast to coast, especially in October, November.
Now you don't do anything with SEMA though. I guess you put your eggs in the basket at Dino's.
Yeah, I haven't done. We
Do
haven't
you
been back
go
to SEMA since
do you, do you
Boosted Bertha. So
do you go to SEMA and try to shop around what's there?
we did. I haven't been in a couple of years. My my goal is on my rebuild of Cloud 9 and Cloud 911. Um, I hope to finish those in the next year or so and have them back out there together. So, or have them out there together. So we'll see.
Now you had they were both there before, right?
Well, Cloud 911 is the Porsche that we're building now. So,
Oh, okay.
but I'm building them as a matching pair. So,
What was the Blazer?
the Blazers, that was Square Peg.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The Square Peg was out there, and Boosted Bertha was out there, and Cloud 9 was out there. We had all three of those there. But I want to bring the new re-envisioned Cloud 9 and Cloud 911 together. I hope to find a spot for them in the next year or two and get them out there. So
Now, on the subject of those builds, though, you had covers out of all those, didn't you?
yes, sir.
What covers were those? Was that street trucks or trucking?
Street trucks on Cloud 9, street trucks on Square Peg, and trucking on Boosted Bertha.
So you had already had the company going when you were building those.
Correct.
So I guess that was probably a little boost to the sales. Like, all right, well, I'm also building these cover vehicles with my products.
100%. I mean, that is literally the reason I built Square Peg and Boosted Bertha, was to focus on products for both of those body styles.
And then just wind up on covers.
Yes, sir.
Sounds
Yes.
like you did something right with them then.
We I think so. I think they both turned out pretty good, and I think they've both been pretty timeless as far as the builds are considered. I think both of them, neither one of them have been changed hardly at all, and I think they'd still show well with everything out there. So
The only one you have is Cloud 9 still, though, right?
correct.
And if I'm trying to remember the pictures in my head, I do believe John Jackson has shot those, didn't he?
No. Actually, John hasn't shot anything for me. He, hopefully, I'll get him too on the Porsche. I love what he does with evening lighting and stuff. He does some pretty cool night shots and stuff.
Because who shot those for you then?
So let's see.
Because they were lit, right?
Okay. Cloud 9 was
Grant.
Aguilar.
Okay, yeah. Because there's very few guys like Kevin, John, and Grant that actually, as a photographer, like I can pick out somebody's photos,
Yeah.
through it. So now if I was looking at it right now, I'd be like, all right, that's one of Kevin's. There's different lighting and stuff, but they're all individual. That's what I look at. When I look at a picture, try to see who shot it before I even read it.
Yeah, Grant did both of the others.
Okay.
He did Boosted Bertha and Square Peg.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're semi close to him.
Yes. Yeah. He's not too far away from it.
Yeah, me and Grant go way back with the the mini truck days and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So bounced around a few shows together. So what's the future hold for Slosh Tubz? Do you have any other big products you're wanting to try? Is there any other direction or models you're going after?
Not at the moment. We're just busting through all the different seats and trying to expand the audio side of it too. We got a Blazer in the shop right now and a 55 through 59 in the shop right now, and a Ford in the shop right now. We're building boxes for all those, so we'll be pumping out a bunch more of that stuff. So
No other new, like, hey, let's try door panels, or let's try,
um, we we might venture into the door panels possibly. Not as really as focused on that as getting the boxes, because there's plenty of people that do door panels and stuff.
Yeah.
So try not to push into something that there's a lot of other people already doing. Hardly anyone was doing, well, almost no one was doing like a box that you could buy and drop into one of these trucks. So that's why we did that, because there was maybe one or two companies making a few things for them. So that's why we jumped in on them.
Well, I guess with like your tubs, is there any other companies that are doing the same kind of tubs? Because you've pretty much become the industry standard for these truck tubs.
Like, there's a bunch of guys now making the metal versions and the metal tubs. But as far as like a bolt-in tub that bolts in like the original one does, I'm the only one doing that.
Yeah, like I said, you've become the industry standard. Like, you always hear that. It's like, oh, it's got Slosh Tubz in it, which I guess I was able to, as you said, put your first set of Slosh Tubz on a cover that were actually on the cover.
How fun is that?
Yeah. Josh is killing it with the content and stuff off that.
That
truck. I know at Mini Nats, he was there in the booth with Mike Alexander, and Mike's like, hey, I need the shot like this. I need it lit like this. I need this done. Like, Mike knew what he wanted. And I'm like, all right, let's make it happen. So
that was too fun.
Yeah, I'm actually taking pictures of my camera, sending it to Mike during the shoot. Be like, all right, you said this is what you wanted. Is this what you wanted? He's like, absolutely. He said, it's exactly what I envisioned. I'm like, good, glad I made it work.
That is awesome.
So, but I guess everybody else is, the hoods are closed. You don't see engines on covers anymore.
Exactly. And if you'll even notice, this is a photographer complaint for me, by the way. They always, when they shoot the engine compartments, even on my trucks, I'm looking at my wall hangers here. Even on my trucks, they tend to narrow it out. And like I said, I've always said I want the motor to be the focus, of the engine to be the focus of the engine compartment. But they always, like every magazine you look at almost, they'll cut the picture down where you see a little bit of the inner fenders, but you don't see like the sides. You don't see a whole engine compartment hardly ever.
When I shoot, I go from fender to fender. There's gap on either side. I might do some detail, like if it's a brake booster or something cool under the hood. Yeah. But for the most part, like, I love that the overhead view where like almost like where the hood latch would be looking down.
Yeah.
Because I'm the same way. Like, I want the whole thing seen. Now, if it's junky and you're trying to shoot around some stuff and it don't have inner fenders,
I understand the engine.
No, I always shoot the whole engine bay, but his being on a ladder, shooting into that, the roof. Like Mike said, he goes, I want it to be where you see enough of the roof to know it's a Suburban.
Yeah,
it was long enough, but you need to see that engine bay. So
love it.
I know back in the day, Travis and all of them would do the shots in the driveways with the hoods off and working on stuff like the action photos, which I absolutely loved. But to set those up takes forever, and you got to make sure it's what everybody needs. And I love doing stuff like that. The stage shots, is what I call them. And most of those happen kind of like randomly. You're like, oh, here's a chair at this shoot, and oh, here's the fridge. Let's set this up and see what happens. So, well, where do people find you online? Where do they find your products and figure out what shows you're going to be at if they want to pick something up and not do shipping?
Yeah. www.sloshtubz.net is our website.
Spelled just like it sounds.
Yes, sir. Slosh_Tubz is our Instagram, and we'll always have our upcoming shows and everything on there. And on our website, too, the very first page of it, if you scroll down on the home page, you'll see the upcoming shows, and it'll have deposit sections. Our products are so big that I can only get like so many seats in the trailer, so many tubs in the trailer. Yeah. And so I do a deposit section. You put down a $100 deposit, and then I know, okay, I need to bring 8 seats to this show. Got 8 people spoken for these sheets. I need to bring so many tubs. So it makes it very helpful because you guys, for the customers, save money if they're buying my stuff at the show. They don't have to pay shipping. So,
which I guess shipping gets pretty expensive when you're shipping tubs and seats and stuff.
Very, very. It's insane the amount of money we spend on shipping.
So it sounds like you need a bigger trailer to take the shows.
I've tried to balance that line of, My wife keeps telling me we need to just go to shows to display and not try to take a whole store to shows. I take a whole store to shows. So, and that's physically a lot of work.
Yeah.
She's like, you're going to get too old to do this.
So you hire a couple kids. Grab you like a drop-aware size trailer. You have plenty of room in one of those.
There you go.
So do you sell more at shows, or do you sell more online and ship them?
We'll probably sell more online, but like C10s in the park, LST, Dino's. I mean, the amount of people in those places, well, we sell a ton in those places too.
So I guess you probably sell a lot at shows and then just ship them when you get back. They probably.
Well, no, I have my trailer is loaded. When I go to a show, I've got enough product. Sometimes depends on how huge the show is. I might run out of 1 or 2 products, but typically, and that's why I do deposits, so I'll know what to bring to the show. So typically, they're picking up my stuff and leaving with it at the show.
Yeah. So for the rest of the year, you said you had the C10s in the park, then you have the C10 Fall Revival,
C10 Nationals before that. So this is pretty much a busy time of the year from here to the end, or from here to Dino's. It gets pretty packed.
Well, I've got another show that's semi-local to me. Some friends do that show down in the valley, which is the same weekend as that C10 Nationals, or I would have headed out to that. I missed C10 Fall Revival last year because it was literally the weekend before I left Wednesday for SEMA, and I'm like, that's just too much. So it's a couple weeks. Yeah, it's the 18th and 19th, and I don't leave till the 30th. So they're only 3 hours from me. Lou is, so I'll head over and check that out. But
yeah, such a fun show. Great venue, good people. That's a good time.
Well, it's like this year after SEMA, because I'm making that drive to SEMA because shipping has just got, even not just on parts, shipping on vehicles has gone stupid. So I'm gonna make the drive with the Tahoe. Leave 3 days early, get there, do SEMA, then I'm staying at a buddy's house for a few days, and then we're heading out to Dino's. I was supposed to have gone last year, and there was a mix-up in everybody's schedules and this and that, so I wound up not going. But this year, I'm like, I'm going to stay at his house, shoot some stuff in Vegas while I'm there, go in early for Dino's, check it out. Then we're just going to roll back after Dino's. And he's actually my buddy's riding back with me, then flying back home to Vegas once we're home. So,
oh, that's fun.
I mean, I'm 21 days gone, but it's like, that's kind of the slower season for me because that's where it starts getting cooler. And, I just have to work around my local photo guys that need work from me. Be like, all right, I'm gone for this month. If you need something, we're going to have to shoot it before. Because I do quite a bit for local Meekum guy and stuff. But that's usually after SEMA is when we kick in for Kissimmee, because he usually takes quite a few down to Kissimmee in January. But he's just going to have to wait till after the 19th of November. So,
well, that's going to be a fun trip.
yep, they said Dino's is one of the best ones to go to. So I figured, why not? It's a week later. Why not stay and go? And
it's insane, dude. It is absolutely mind blowing the amount of people that pack in there.
I've seen the aerial photos, and it's like I had some coverage from last year because I was still at Street Trucks, and it was like, okay, I knew I saw more than this online. Like I need better photos than this. I know what was there because you see everything online during the show. Like what's there, who's there, what vendors are there. So I guess that's probably one of your biggest ones of the year as a vendor.
Oh, definitely.
How many sets do you usually sell at a show of just your tubs? If we just narrow it down to that.
It's so. I don't even know. It's so. It's never the same at any show, even even the big shows. It's totally different every year. So I never know. That's why it's so confusing to me. But like to Dino's show, I'll probably have 50 sets in the trailer of tubs, probably,
which is a ton. So
50 or 60 sets in the trailer, and then however many seats I can get in there, and
which I guess luckily they can all stack on each other, and it's probably easy to do multiple at a time.
Correct. So a lot of them will kind of turtle shell on top of each other. If I put all the passengers together and all the drivers together,
yeah,
I can kind of turtle shell them and stack them. So I've got shelves built in the trailer and everything for that. So
nice. I know you always have a nice, display set up when I see you out at shows. So
thank you.
Well, I won't tie you up. I'll let you get in there. You got some tubs to make and some seats to weld. So I appreciate you coming on. I guess I'll see you here in a few weeks at Lou's show at the Fall Revival, and then a couple weeks later I'll see you in Arizona. So
yes, sir.
I'll swing by and say hi. But you guys check him out. Like I said, he makes some killer parts. Even if it's something you think you're about to start building on, hit him up, check out his website, and see what's what. Like I said, the industry standard and what he's doing. So I definitely appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Have a good day.